What if I told you that the most painful season of your life wasn't God punishing you, but God trusting you? That changes everything. And there is a man in the Bible whose story will either shake your faith or anchor it deeper than has ever been. His name is Job, and his story starts in heaven. Job was not a bad man. In fact, God himself called him blameless and upright, a man who feared God and turned away from evil. He had everything: a family, wealth, health, reputation. But then one day in the courts of heaven, Satan stood before God and made an accusation. Job only loves you because you've blessed him. Take it all away, and he will curse you to your face. And God, in a moment that is hard for our human minds to process, said, "He is in your hands, but do not touch his life." And so it began. In one single day, Job lost his livestock, his servants, his children, everything, then his health, then his dignity, and then God went silent. Job didn't pretend to be okay. He sat in ashes, he wept, he questioned, he cried out to God with everything inside of him. He asked the same question you and I have asked: why, God? Where are you? Don't you see what is happening to me? Don't you care? And here is the part that is both the hardest and the most comforting thing in the entire book of Job. God let him ask. He didn't strike him down for the questions. He didn't withdraw his love. He didn't abandon the conversation. He let Job pour it all out. Because honest pain is never an insult to God. So why did God allow it? Not because Job deserved it, not because God had stopped caring, but because there was something being proven in the courts of heaven that was bigger than Job's comfort. God was showing the enemy and showing the world that genuine faith doesn't depend on favorable circumstances, that a man can lose everything and still choose God. That real love for God isn't transactional. Job wasn't just going through suffering. Job was making a statement with his life that God is worth it even when life is not. And here's the breathtaking part. God trusted Job enough to carry that assignment. The suffering wasn't rejection, it was selection. And then God showed up. Not with an explanation, not with an apology, but with his presence. He spoke to Job from the whirlwind. And somehow just hearing God's voice was enough. Job 42 tells us God restored everything Job lost, double. More children, more wealth, more years, more blessing than he had before. But the most important thing Job received wasn't the restoration, it was the encounter. He said, "My ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you." The suffering introduced Job to a version of God he never would have met in comfort. God being powerful doesn't mean he removes every storm. It means he is sovereign over every storm. He sees the full picture, the beginning, the middle, and the ending all at once. And he does not waste a single moment of your pain. Your suffering is not evidence that God has forgotten you. It might be evidence that he trusts you with something deeper than you currently understand. Job made it through. Not because the pain wasn't real, not because God explained everything, but because God was faithful even in the silence, and he will be faithful to you too. Drop a heart if you're in your job season right now and you're still choosing to hold on. Share this with someone who needs to know the story isn't over yet. God bless.